Greetings and peace to all the listeners. Welcome back to Nights of Gnosis, where we explore the Gnostic texts and their interpretations. Tonight we will be going over the Gospel of Truth found in the Nag Hammadi library edited by Marvin Meyer. Please be aware that this is only one interpretation of the Gospel of Truth and that the intent is to inspire listeners to read the text for themselves and gain an understanding according to their own knowledge. The introduction of this book does not give an identity to the author. It only states that it was found amongst the Valentinians, a sect of Christians that drifted from the mainstream Christian movement of the time. Even so, we can still take the information and compare it to other Gnostic texts to find a common theme, mainly the truth of how to ascend and the nature of reality. We must understand that spiritual truths aren't just found in writings attributed to the 13 disciples directly associated with the Christ, but that many who came into contact with him would have documented his teachings. As with some of the Gnostic texts, the book can jump from one topic to another in a nonlinear fashion, so we shall be discussing highlights of the book that may aid listeners in their spiritual advancement.
The good news is that, according to this gospel, we were never separated from the Creator. That separation is just an illusion that causes terror, fear, and pain. The bad news is that most people are living out this illusion. One way in which the book veers from modern Christianity is the mention of the Father not being jealous since everything is within him. However, in the modern Bible at Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 24, God is described as jealous. The reason for this difference in thought is quite simple to explain. In Egyptian belief, all gods were related to the Creator God and worked for him through a divine system of nepotism. The Gospel explains it in its own way by asking why the Father would be jealous of his own members that reside within him. This does bring up an interesting question, though. If the Creator God of the Gnostics isn't the jealous type, who are the Orthodox Christians worshipping?
Another way in which the Gospel of Truth deviates from the Orthodox thought is that it describes Jesus as a guide helping people to know the Father in order to redeem themselves, and that there are those existing who already possess the knowledge of the Father. These ones are described as little children because they possess innocence, a sense of freedom, and great potential. What this Gnostic text and the Bible do seem to have in common is Jesus' association with children. See Matthew chapter 18, verses 1 through 5. Another idea shared in the Gospel of Truth as well as the contemporary Bible is that the truth is in our hearts. Quote, "In their hearts the living book of the living was revealed, the book that was written in the Father's thought and mind." End quote. At Romans chapter 2, verse 15 it says, quote, "They demonstrate that God's law is written in their hearts, for their own conscience and thoughts either accuse them or tell them they are doing right." End quote. That is from the New Living Translation. So not only do we reside in the Father, but his thoughts and knowledge reside within us.
Jesus was able to spiritually bypass those living during his time because he remembered the truth of his connection to the Father by processing the truth that was in his heart. He was raised up by teaching those who would listen and learn, and, in turn, they would be inscribed in the living book and be instructed by the Father by tapping into the truth in their hearts. Those who obtain this knowledge live because their names are remembered by the Father because they are from above. The sons and daughters of the Creator are here waiting to be awakened, and the ones who are awake are here to do the awakening just as Jesus did. Those who are from above and said to have the knowledge of the Father are compared to little children. Why is this? Because children represent innocence, freedom, and great potential. When we come upon such people, we see that they don't teach for gain, unless they mean to gain a brother or sister in spirit. They don't seem to lie, cheat, or steal from you while pretending to be holy. When it comes to freedom, it isn't meant that they live carefree lives with no problems whatsoever. However, their lives aren't overcomplicated with the problems we create for ourselves. They aren't bound by chains we put on our own wrists and ankles. These people have great potential because they've merged with the Father and they believe in the positive power of unity, which can make us all stronger and better. The book continues to say that those with this special knowledge will come to their senses and gain control of themselves. Many today are manipulated mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally by media, spiritual leaders, leaders in government, etc. People are thrown into chaos even by the social media you listen to this cast on, because with all the conflicting ideas no one can be sure of the truth. However, once you tap into the truth that resides in your heart, that truth that doesn't change, all of that confusion and fear goes away. All of those things causing such fear and doubt are described as illusions. The book speaks of how we fear being killed all the time or see others being killed in one manner or another, and says that these things will continue until we wake up from what it describes as a dream. We have the power to be rid of such things, But many of us expose ourselves to such horrendous acts, resulting in a mental sickness that leads to negative manifestations. Once awakened, the reader is given instructions that will keep them on their path, mainly to help others awaken and be a place of rest for them. See Hebrews chapter 10, verse 24 and 25. But we are also told to focus on ourselves and not the things that stand in our way. Where we put our focus is where we place our power. Therefore, we want to focus on bettering ourselves, not the things designed to tear us down and place us in a negative mindset. This is described as the Father's will for those who come from Him. For those who feel as if they've fallen into an irredeemable state, rejoice, because there is always hope. The thought of error is said not to be with the Father, and that what has fallen can be readily set upright. See Psalms chapter 103, verses 1 through 12. For those familiar with the story of the prodigal son, the father welcomed his child with open arms despite the fact that the son once led a debaucherous life. Like the father, we too should seek to receive those who wish to improve their lives with gladness and provide them with a place of rest. If you have read the Gospel of Truth, do you agree with this interpretation? If not, what do you disagree with? Are there any highlights you'd like to point out? If so, be sure to leave a comment to start a conversation and help stimulate thought. Until next time, may your path to wisdom be filled with peace, love, and unity.